You want me to do light?
All right, let's do. Oh yeah. Oh crap. Let's do this. The wire kind of pulled out yesterday, and hopefully it didn't break it. I hope it didn't break it. Nope. Oh, the thing got left on.
Oh shit! Right, left it on. Sorry.
It's okay. I can go get the other charger.
No, it's. I think we'll be okay. We don't have a lot of time.
Maybe it's right there in your room.
Okay. Malika. Got to see my babies. They're so happy. It was amazing. Posted pictures on our Facebook. Bright light.
Okay. Oh yeah. It lit up blue. Right there. Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, today is 18th. I got paid my fee today. But yeah, May 18th. Okay. Heavenly Father, so praise you, Lord. Oh, just have a wonderful, amazing weekend. Just so good. Just thank you for that, Lord, for just that awesomeness and just a great time we had. And just thank you for everything you're doing, Father. Everything, and just pray if anyone's having a hard time right now, Lord, struggling, that you just show up and show out for them. In Jesus Christ's holy and heavenly name, I pray. Amen.
Okay. 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 Love can change people. The righteous gives and does not spare. Proverbs 21:26. I once read a story in Guidepost magazines, a remarkable account of how love changed a person's life. A Christian woman lived next door to an elderly lady who never came out of her house or even raised her window shades to let light into her home. The lady's husband had died, and she herself had endured a stroke, which had left her lonely and bitter. The Christian woman and her two young children began trying to reach out to the elderly recluse. But every time she rejected their advances. They baked cookies every week for a long time and delivered them to the neighbor's door. The first time she opened the door just a crack and accepted the cookies, thanked them, and closed the door. The neighbor's response was not what the Christian woman had hoped for, but she lovingly persisted. And eventually love did work. The elderly lady accepted a casserole from her and said more than just a short thank you. As the visits continued, the elderly woman gradually began to chat longer. Finally, one day, the Christian woman and children picked some flowers from their garden and delivered them to the neighbor. Eventually, they all became good friends. The elderly lady got her life back. She opened her blinds, her door, and her heart, and she began to live again. All because someone who loved God was determined to love her. Many people in the world today are just like the elderly neighbor. They have had sadness or difficulties in their lives and have become bitter. They seem to reject love, yet love is what they need most. Be a person who gives of yourself and your resources to reach out and show love to someone who desperately needs it. Love others today. Do you know someone who is angry, sad, or bitter? How can you show love to that person? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one. I mean, that's so true. I mean, as you know, a lot of people, you know, like they're very, very bitter about love. And it nothing to do with it. You're kind of like that a little bit, you know, um, just a little bit. But yeah, but really though, that is what someone needs the most. You know, it's just because people don't know how to love here, and they don't care to love, you know, and they use it as a word, don't really know its meaning, you know, and tell someone they love them that they really don't, you know, and end up shitting all over them, you know, and so then they no one, someone says, "Oh, I love you," and they're like, "Bullshit," you know, and yeah, you just need someone that's gonna love you the right way and good, not all fucked up like. Let my comforts delight your soul. The world presents you with a multitude of anxieties, too numerous for you to count. Everywhere you turn, you see problems and trouble. In the midst of this mess, look to me for help. Whisper my name, Jesus, thus reactivating your awareness of my presence. Your perspective changes dramatically as my presence comes onto the screen of your continuousness, lighting up your worldview. My comforts can soothe your troubled heart and delight your soul. If the world were perfect, you would never experience the pleasure of receiving comfort from me. Instead of letting problems discourage you, use them as reminders to seek me. My presence, my peace, my love. These invisible realities are available to you anytime, any place, and they provide joy that no one can take away from you. So come to me when you are weary and burdened. I will provide rest for your soul. In the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comforts delight my soul. Psalm 94:19. Therefore, you now have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and your joy no one will take from you. John 16:22. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Matthew 11:28-29. Yeah, yeah, it's really good. I mean, really, you know, like at first in life, you know, there's things that happen that even, you know, like I mean, that made me bitter about aspects, you know, but I never took my bitterness and projected it, you know, on somebody and never made me hateful to people or anything. I was always hateful to myself, you know, and then in turn, yeah, I didn't know how to treat people, you know, because I was self-centered, you know, in that, you know, and all that stuff. So, you know, I cared about what I wanted, you know, and then, you know, and in my pain, you know, and I wasn't always able to care about other people's, you know, but still, you know, I guess maybe that was good though that it was in on myself because like I was able to learn lessons I need to learn, you know. I thought about things I needed to think about and eventually get through them, you know. But it's really important you gotta go real better and not bitter, you know. And like that's something I learned going to Safe Um, my counselor, she'd always say, you know, situations in life like this, you're either gonna go better from them or bitter from them, you know. And there's a lot of truth in that. And that's for any situation in life that causes discomfort or trouble, you know. And they're all lessons. They're all lessons, you know. And with knowledge of that, and realizing you're in the illusion and that, and realizing all that, it makes life so much easier, you know. Like, oh, see that spider?
Yeah.
Mm.
Run. Run. Go. Don't fuck with it. Ain't fucking with you.
Just be giving them some breath.
I don't want that more breath,
You might.
babe.
Love you, baby.
Forgiving Lord, I long for her release, my friend who churns with memories of failure and guilt. She needs to feel sure and serene, knowing you are holding her fast. She needs to understand that her continual remorse is a sheer waste of energy and time. In no way can she change the past or relieve it or rectify it. Lord, she is torturing herself in her circle of regret. Please speak to her, God. May she no longer censure. censure herself for what once happened. Rather, direct her attention. Oh man, I'm seeing shit. To what is happening now. May she stop berating herself, I can't even talk this morning, berating herself for her mismanaged past. Is it still recording?
Yeah, it's still recording.
Empower her to concentrate on managing the present. Heal her, Lord. She is so occupied with morbid introspection. Give her a fresh, breathtaking glimpse of the joy that can be hers when she is totally occupied with you. I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of the heaven and earth. Psalms 121, 1-2. That was funny though. So I was seeing like, it was like little orbs, little circles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's okay. We'll get through it.
They look like little rings of smoke. And it wasn't, it was like, wow.
Yeah, so technically, 40 days ago, Jesus was hung on the cross today, and Thursday, he supposedly rose from the grave. And so 40 days after he rose from the grave, he ascended to heaven, right? So this week's ascension. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, so we can confidently say, the Lord is my helper, I will not fear. What can man do to me? Hebrews 13:6. After I became a Christian in college, I remained on the tennis team and promised God that I would use the sport to represent him in any and every way possible. The following season, I was undefeated, which was hard to believe after struggling my first year to stay on the team. I was a decent player, but God and some hard work made me a better one. At the end of that year, the college had this big sports awards ceremony. I had just met Amy, so I invited her to go, and my parents had been invited, so I knew I must be getting some award. But what I didn't expect was to be named Athlete of the Year, the school's most prestigious athletic honor. When I talked to the podium to accept the award, the presenter asked if I wanted to say a few words. Immediately, I remembered my promise to God. I grabbed the microphone and preached my first sermon. It had something like 73 points as I rambled for a good 10 minutes. But it didn't matter because my heart was open and God shone through. Closing my little impromptu sermon, I became mortified at what I just done. So imagine how shocked I was when everyone in the banquet room gave me a standing ovation. When I returned to my seat, I passed another athlete who extended his hand to shake. That's the boldest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I thanked him, well aware that it was all God. His same power is available to you right now today. Power lift. Dear God, take me out of my comfort zone and give me your boldness and power. Help me grow in faith so others can know you. That's what's up. That's so good, and that's like a lot, it's like deal with Moses and stuff. Moses didn't think, he stuttered and stuff, and he didn't think that, he thought there'd be someone better, but like in our weakness, in our insecurities, that's when God can show up and do his amazingness, and anyone that goes through a situation, they're insecure about it, and don't think they can get through it, and just don't see a way out, if you believe in something higher, every single time it's going to work out. You're going to learn something. You're going to see him work in ways you didn't know he could, and in ways you didn't know that you could, and it's really amazing. It's really, really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I spilled my coffee, I guess. And look at me, a little hard on my coffee loves me.
Okay. A picture of redemption. If you do what is right, you will not be accepted, ? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it. Genesis 4:7. Every once in a while, God gives us a chance to witness a miracle. Recently, a leader in Soviet recovery shared the miracle with me. A year ago, a man walked into my office, broken at his wit's end, with a heart full of despair. He was angry and...
Dang it, baby.
Okay. He was angry and trying to cope with a host of substance and other unhealthy habits that were destroying his mind and hardening his heart. He was ready to abandon his wife and family. Last night I saw this man again at Sober Recovery graduation service. Now 11 months sober, he is a completely different man. With tears in his eyes, he accepted his 12-step chip and then expressed his love for his wife, who was sitting close by. I was humbled as I heard him talk about the restoration that had come to his marriage and how his kids are rejoicing and talking about God. He then quoted the following Bible passage, changing you to if I do what is right, will I not be accepted? But if I do not do what is right, sin is crouching at my door. It desires to have me, but I must master it. The man I met a year ago is no more. He is in his place, a new leader has been born. That's what I call a true miracle, the transformation of a human life. Prayer. Dear God of miracles, I stand in awe of what you have done in so many lives. My words cannot express your greatness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Okay, so like one thing I was watching something the other day, and I have to agree. Okay, so like there's okay, so like I just feel like the sin is just such a bad term. Okay, but so there's things that quench your spirit, right? The holiness inside of you, the God part inside of you. There's things that quench that spirit and don't allow it to flourish in your life, right? And for God's work to be done, right? And those are things like greed and lust and things of that nature. Okay, hate. And whenever you hold on to these things, because they give you money, power, control, or whatever, then you are denying the spirit within you, and that's where you get separate from God. And if you pass on from this life holding on to those things, then you're not going to be able to experience, that the life with God after this. Eventually you will, but not right at first. And so, like, in that sense, yeah, and I know that's very true. But like, if I didn't do those things and learn that those things were no good for me, then I wouldn't be who I am today. I never really had a problem with greed, or anything like that. But if I didn't do the things that I knew were quenching my spirit, and the things that, then I wouldn't know the value and how important it is to be able to let God's spirit, be watered in me and to flourish and grow and all that stuff. Like, it's necessary. Like I said in the Bible, there should have never been a do not in the Bible. And then don't feel guilty if you do those things. Just recognize it, give it to God, let go of it. That's what we're here. We're here to learn. We plan those mistakes to make to teach us. Okay, it's a really beautiful system. Okay. Living simply yet focused. Look at the birds of the air. Consider the lilies of the field. Matthew 6:26-28. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. They simply are. Think of the sea, the air, the sun, the stars, and the moon. All these simply are as well. Yet what a ministry and service they render on our behalf. So often we impair God's design influence. which He desires to exhibit through us. Because of our own conscious efforts to be consistent and useful, Jesus said there's only one way to develop and grow spiritually. Only that is through focusing and concentrating on God. In essence, Jesus was saying, do not worry about being of use to others. Simply believe on me. In other words, pay attention to the source, and out of you will flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. We cannot discover the source of our natural life through common sense and reasoning. And Jesus is teaching here that growth in our spiritual life comes not from focusing directly on it, but from concentrating on our Father in heaven. Our Heavenly Father knows our circumstances, and if we will stay focused on Him instead of our circumstances, we will grow spiritually. Just as the lilies of the field, the people who influence us the most are not those who detain us with their continual talk, but those who live their lives like the stars in the sky and the lilies of the field, simply and unaffectedly. Those are the lives that mold and shape us. If you want to be of use to God, maintain the proper relationship with Jesus Christ by staying focused on Him, and He will make use of you every minute you live. Yet you will be unaware on the conscious level of your life that you are being used of Him. Like, that's just so amazing. Like, I just love that. So true. You know, and it's about being. It's like, well, what do I do? What am I supposed to do? And like, a lot of us know that we're here for a mission and that we're supposed to do something great. You know, and we are. You know, like we're here and we're basically saving the planet. You know, and that's a big mission, right? But how are we doing that? You know, just by being here, being positive, being loving, just being who you are, radiating that awesomeness of God within you. You know, it's all that's required. It's all that you came to do. It's not some big extravagant eyes on me kind of thing. You know, it's for the simple. It's for the meek, basically. You know what I mean? And it's just being. You know, it's not doing. It's being. You know, there's nothing you need to do. You know, you just come to a place where you're centered and completely dependent on God. And just love Him and love those around you. You know, it's a being, not a doing. And it's really good. Really, really good. I like that one.
Mm-hmm. He's so fast.
So fast.
You see him do that. Hold on to your dream. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. Genesis 39:2. One day when I have my own house, I will live by my rules, or maybe no rules at all. In our teen years, most of us have voiced familiar words. Realize the cigarette? Possibly while kicking the nearest object. From the time we are children, the thought of complete independence seems like a perfect solution to our frustrations. Our impatient minds crave freedom without responsibility. Then in adulthood, our thoughts imagine, if only I could be my own boss. If we're not careful, we will throw away the thing that brings us freedom, a submitted heart. I've learned that tasting prosperity comes through submission to authority. In the Bible, Joseph is described as a prosperous man. He was an Israelite, yet he advanced in the Egyptian kingdom. He was determined that his circumstances would not take away from the dream God gave him. Too often we blame our inability to pursue our dreams on our current situation, possibly even our jobs, leadership, or a season of life. The enemy uses our reasoning along with our fear of failure against us. Take care not to believe the lies telling us everyone is against you. Those lies will make you resentful and unable to move forward in faith. Is there a dream that you stopped reaching for? I encourage you to reclaim your dream. Maybe the unexpected season you're in is the perfect one for your dream to prosper. Dear Lord, I am thankful you are with me in this season. Give me the courage to serve faithfully and trust your plan for my life.
I forget what I was going to say. Okay, so yeah, you know, like And that's what, okay, so we live in a duality, right? You got good and you got bad, okay? And we've been controlled, and basically the world is a slave to the 1%, right? And because they know that we were made to serve, we were created to serve our Creator. We were created to, and it really only works that way. It's only a good system whenever the one in power truly is compassionate and loving and for you. Whenever you got beings that are evil and know this, but they understand their right to choose and do and be who they want to be, but know this knowledge and know the truth of things, okay, then that's how they've enslaved us and trick us, and that's like the system that's in place today, because we are created that way, and it's really messed up, like only whenever it's a benevolent, loving being do I feel like we should submit and be that way. Cause like other than that, it should be equality. It should be, it shouldn't be the way it is. When it's not something that actually is for us. Like the way the system is. Like it's messed up. And how do you break away from that? And just things are gonna have to end and change and be created anew. Because there's no breaking away from it really. Like they're not gonna go down without wanting to take everyone out with them. Like it's gonna be really bad. So a guy's got to step in and fix things. But and that's what we're all here learning. Because then like after this life, like we're supposed to go on to do amazing, great things. Like the universe, is hanging on what happens here. Like. And so, like it can't fail. This experiment can't fail. It just can't. There's too much is at stake, and it's really beautiful and really, really cool. And learning the things we need to learn is essential right now. It's very, very important. Really, we gotta wake up. See what's going on. Because then we know where to go from here, and I'm sure teach and be there and liberate other people, other beings from their oppression, from other evil entities out there in the world. Things of that nature. Like it's gonna be freaking amazing. Like heck, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait, honestly.
5 minutes to 6.
I won't talk on this one, okay? I don't think I will. I'll try not to. Unshakable. When calamity comes, the wicked are brought down, but even in death, the righteous have a refuge. Proverbs 14:32. Inward, how do you react in a crisis? Or to ask an even more revealing question, how do you react in the minor irritations of everyday life? The answer is not a matter of what you say you believe. It's a matter of your familiarity, even intimacy with your Father. As much as we say that He is trustworthy and true, our tower of strength and our shield, those are only words until they are tested. And in this world, they are tested often. Have you ever known Christians who believe the right things about God, but who panic at every difficulty? It's hard to believe that someone's belief is the sovereignty and faithfulness of God are more than skin deep when his panic sets in. The truth of our relationship with God comes out when the heat is on. We discover whether we really trust Him or not when we put in a position of having to trust Him. A belief in God's providence means little until one lacks essentials, and a belief in God's strength means little until one is completely helpless. Then the truth comes out. Those who have not put their trust in the refuge, who ignore Him and go their own way, are wicked, according to the Bible. That may seem harsh, but that's the true assessment of the human rebellion. And those who do not really trust Him will be brought down by every calamity. Those who do trust Him can't be brought down by anything, even with death. So where do you stand? Do you have a shallow belief in God's faithfulness, applying His promise to others' situations but not your own? We are called to live in a different dimension than we once lived in. We must know who our fortress is. We are not to become strong. We are to find our strength in Him. We must let His peace speak louder to us than our trials do. God stands firm when everything else moves. Can you? And like that's another thing. I was watching this video yesterday. Like that's where they get us. The martial law is not them forcibly controlling us. It's about a belief. It's about they want us to think that we are only to live in this density. We're only to live in this frequency, and we're being called to live in all frequencies, at the same time. And we get to pick which one we want to be in. We can escape this reality and be in a way better one. They don't want you to know that. That's their control, and like And that's one thing too, like with this whole thing going on right now, like if you've been someone that, believes in God and is for God and stuff, but then this thing hit and you're freaking out and thinking that this mask is gonna save you and social distancing is gonna save you and panicking and just freaking out and what am I gonna do? How am I gonna feed my family? How am I gonna pay my bills because you lost your job? Like then like really it wasn't only skin deep. None of it was really real. It had no, and you didn't you didn't water your stuff on good soil, like at all. You're being blown down by the storm, and that's what we're weeding out the strong from the weak. Like which ones are really bad at which ones, trust in Him, know that He's gonna take care of them no matter what the situation looks like right now. God's gonna make sure that you're okay no matter what. And the people that and you can just evident around you who is like that and who's not, and hopefully the situation woke people up to realizing the news is not our friend, and they get off on our fear. It feeds them, and it's really crazy, really really crazy. But yeah, it really is a test of character, a test of strength, and when you're firmly rooted in God, then you're unshakable. You can't be blown down, and how beautiful that is. Like really really cool. Okay.
Okay.
Is that prayer, baby?
Yep. God, I just want to thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for being amazing and letting everything just come together as smoothly as it is, Lord. I ask you just to be with us today and do the most like you always do. We appreciate it, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. All right, y'all have a great day. Yes.